What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Beyond the Grave Media. This is Josh here, checking in on you, as we always do here on a Monday, the worst day, the beginning of the work week. But don't let that get you down, man. Today, Junior, I think I'm about to ruffle some feathers. I think I'm about to piss some people off. I think I'm about to rant. I think I'm about to explode. I'm going to do some things that they're just going to come out. We're not going to script this. Like, if you were to look at my phone and you've seen the 600 pages of notes I like to write, I've got just nothing. I've just got like bullet points, just a couple of things that I was thinking about all day today that we're just going to hammer into really, really quickly. And I'm not going to dick around and make you feel like this is a clickbait video or you shouldn't have waited till the end, because I'll just tell you how I feel about 28 Years Later. 28 Years Later is a movie that came out this year that I had no inkling to watch. I had nothing to do with it. I hadn't seen 28 Days Later since like 2002. I own that in 28 weeks later, 28 Days Later, 28 weeks. I own them. I remember really liking the second one in parts because of the dude from Braveheart. And I remember thinking that Cillian Murphy he did great in that movie, but I thought it was so jarring. I was like, oh my God, these zombies, they run now. What is this rage virus? And then we got, fucking Dawn of the Dead, then we got The Walking Dead, we got all the zombie movies changed because of 28 Days Later, and initially I was not a fan of that. I thought that it was just kind of hokey, but in 2002 I was a way different person. I think I was graduating high school, I was 18, and I was just, I don't know, the person I was with, they really liked this movie, and it just wasn't it for me. I was like, I don't know about that. This is not Night of the Living Dead. I was just kind of, I don't think I was shitty about it, but I wasn't a huge fan. But let's fast forward, okay? And I hear that 28 Years Later is going to be released, and I have no interest really in seeing it. I seen the teaser photo, and I haven't been watching trailers, which has really helped my horror movie watching experience for sure. Because when you go into a movie and you don't know anything about it, it just helps. Sometimes you can't get away from the press, but sometimes just seeing too much shit ruins it. But with 28 Years Later, I was just like, yeah, if I see it, it's cool, and if I like it, that's great. I really had no expectations. And so I'll tell you what I think about 28 Years Later. I fucking loved it. I really fucking did. I did not expect this movie to have any sort of, bearing on how I feel, and to definitely not have me go to work today and think about it all day and want to tell my wife she needs to watch it. I had no clue that was going to happen, because from what I've seen and what I've read, and I haven't watched anybody review it, but you see Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or wherever you're at, Reddit, people are just bitching. They're so upset. And then when you look at 28 Years Later, and it's got an 88% on the tomato meter, but the critical score, usually the user review, it's like a 2.2, maybe it's a 2.8, I forget. All right, but in your head, you're like, this movie's going to suck. This is not going to be a good movie, and I'm going to hate it. And that's not what happened. I remember I was watching it last night, and I texted my buddy Fernie. I was like, dude, I fucking love the first hour of this movie. And he writes back, wait for it. It's going to tonally shift, and just wait for it, right? And so I'm watching it, and it's getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And I'll try not to spoil it too much. I have to do a little bit of spoilers, but it won't be too bad. By the time that it ends, yeah, we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. I felt like I seen a Danny Boyle movie. I was like, he picks shitty music always, whatever's trendy, whatever's popular. Like, he likes to do these kind of slick camera effects, whether you're watching Slumdog or 28 Days or fucking 127 Hours. Danny Boyle movies always look like Danny Boyle movies. And so I had no fucking problem with the way that it was shot or the way that it looked or the kill cam or any of that. Like, that's what I expected from this director. And really, if anything, I think I was paying attention to the way that it was shot because of the iPhone madness. That was really my only intrigue. I was like kind of studying different parts, the way it was made, because I wanted to see like how that shit looked. So let's get into it, okay? Yeah, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I absolutely loved the first hour of this movie. I'm talking, it was in my top movies of the year for most of this film. And then it does change, and Act 2 was a lot different, and Act 3 just kind of shits the bed. That doesn't mean that I didn't still have a good time watching that. It was just a lot different than I thought it was going to go based on how this movie started. And the beginning of this movie, dude, was an absolute home run. Okay, you've got the father, you've got Spike, is his name, I forget his fucking name. Anyway, Pa, right? And it's like the Scottish Highlands or whatever. They're on an island, they got to go out, and it's, into a coming of age thing where he's got to test his mettle. He's got to go out there and he's got to hunt for the first time. And of course, he's going to be hunting the rage virus, the infected, the zombies. He's got to go onto the mainland. And the way to get there, there's like an old woman, the keeper of the wall, if you will, right? It's such a throwback to like survival films, man. And when they open that gate and they say, hey man, you miss high tide or you miss low tide, whichever one it is, you're not coming back in. You are fucking stuck on the mainland with the infected, and we won't just let you in. We got to make sure that you're okay. And then she points to all the crosses and all the dead buried there. This film treats the dead in such a unique way, man. There's like this reverence and this remembrance with this film that it fucking spoke to me, man. I don't know what I was expecting, but it was a way deeper movie than I thought it was going to be until it wasn't. But that's not necessarily totally a bad thing. So at the beginning, they go out hunting, right? And they encounter these slow-mo zombies, if you will. And it's straight out of Silent Hill. It's straight out of a video game. The way that they're these big, fat, bloated corpses and they're just crawling across the ground, right? And they eat these worms like total Fulci style. I fucking was eating that shit up, man. I was so impressed the way that it was filmed. There was real tension. There was real drama. It felt like something really negative was going to happen. There was a great sense of danger and a sense of fear. Mostly, right? There was spots where you're like, okay, they're not triggered by sound because these guys can yell and be stupid out in the open and they're not coming. That was kind of weird, okay? And then there's also parts where they're just relying on their arrows, and obviously they can get away from them. They're not very smart, and there's these giant alpha ones that are very, very primitive in the way that they are. I'm talking with my hands, just thinking about it. It's better to talk with my hands and other things, if you know what I'm talking about. And, you know, so the father-son part where they go in and they have to kind of stay the night and they get to see these fires and they have to go home and tell the tale. That scene on the causeway when they were trying to get home, man, that's the best scene in a horror movie this year. I'm telling you right now, I was locked the fuck in, you guys. I fucking loved it, man, when they're running. Now, obviously the laws of physics and just the odds that, we don't have boats for people when there's trouble. We don't have other ways, cannons or some other ways to take care of this problem. It's a little far-fetched, but I didn't give a shit. I wasn't thinking logically or to reason. I was just going with it because I had no expectations. I wasn't like trying to like answer the universe and like all the problems and questions and storylines and plot holes from the first two because I didn't really care that much about them. I was like, yeah, I own them. They're fine. You know, like I feel like they're good for horror fans to know about and to revisit once in a while, but I had no vested interest. So when things were going on in this film, especially that first hour, man, I was locked in. And you know, the mom did a great job as well, and you're not sure like what's exactly wrong with her. And I thought initially, I'm like, they're not going to have like some sort of possession with her, right? Is this the possession? Is it the rage virus? Is there something going on? And the kid who's playing Spike does a great job. Obviously, I wanted more of the dad. He was great in Nosferatu. He has come a long way as an actor. I think if this film would have just stuck to those characters, I would have given this probably 7 or 8 out of 10. I would have fucking really gave it high marks. What does happen is it has a tonal shift, right? And we get introduced to some soldiers. You get some firepower. You get some actual guns going on. You get kind of like mom's gonna go out and try to find this doctor. It almost becomes like a little bit of an Apocalypse Now situation where, you know, you get Ralph Fiennes. He's the doctor. He's obviously like studying these rage virus creatures here, these zombies, if you will, these Zeds. And I thought it was really interesting the way they did that. There was a lot of plot holes. There was a lot of things that did not make sense that I just kind of fucking totally overlooked because I had such a good time with the first hour. And I'm going to stand on that hill. I don't need my fucking horror movies to make sense. I just want to know, was it effective? Did I have a good time? Am I still thinking about it now? Was it, you know, did it have an impact on me? Was most of the film pretty good? I can get through a shitty ending, especially knowing that there's going to be like a next one in January and a third. I hate this whole fucking, that is one thing I will say on my little soapbox here, like the fucking Lorax. I speak for the trees, is that I'm tired of these fucking trilogies. If you can't put everything that you need to put in 2 hours or an hour and 55 minutes, get the fuck out of here. Call it another movie. Bone Temple, right? It's a prequel. I don't give a, don't, get everything out in the first 2 hours, Danny Boyle. I don't want to see 4 more hours of this shit. Even though I really like this movie, I am sick of that. Whether it's The Exorcist, my favorite fucking film, or Halloween, or any of this fucking bullshit, obviously, The Strangers, it's all fucking shit. I'm tired of it. If you can't tell a story in 2 hours, I love long movies. Sinners did it in like 2 hours and 30 minutes, man, and they had that end scene with fucking awesome with Muddy Waters. Awesome, dude. I digress. Okay, let's talk about some problems with this film. Okay, it's kind of sucks when the mom and the kid go off on a quest. Even though the mom has good screen presence, it's not as effective as when the dad's out there hunting. That survival element, I'm a huge survival fan. If you didn't know, I love survival movies. When I'm not sure what to watch, I need a Sunday night feature to go to sleep, it's always a survival movie, baby. I watch horror movies every day, and on the weekend it's usually throwbacks with Chevy Chase and survival movies, man. Creature features, animal attack video. I fucking get off on survival movies. So this one did it really, really, really well. And I really was here for it, man. There was some things that I didn't agree with, right? The whole, there is a pregnancy, there is newborns in here, and there's a little bit of like science that might not totally make sense. That scene though, when that happens inside of that bus or tram or whatever the fuck that is, that was a brutal scene in more ways than one, and we'll get to that in just a second. I was going with it. I still was like, all right, the law of physics, whatever. I thought when they went into the shell, but the S was carved off and it just said hell, and they just decided to bomb everything with the fire, but somehow they're immune. There was things that I didn't love, but I love that little touch where it just said hell, and they went into that service station. Man, that shit was fucking money. I thought, I don't know. There was some cop-outs with the safety that I didn't really agree with as well. I thought that they could have really taken their time and explored the town a little bit and maybe like showed like some of the damage and some of the effects of what happened with the rage virus, especially on the mainland. I would have really liked, but I guess that's why they got 4 more fucking hours of movie coming, right? The intro to this film where they're in the church, that scene was so good, man. That was almost like silver bullet level good, where the zombies are coming instead of the werewolves through the church glass. Like that was so good. Okay, it built up so much goodwill for most of this movie, and then it has this jarringly bizarre end to the film. It's very, very abrupt. But like I said, if you watch Danny Boyle movies, like he does this kind of shit all the time. The parkour was weird, and then we gotta talk about it. The nudity. Okay? The Dong Father. Fucking Lord of the Wangs here. Okay? That was a little bit jarring to watch. Like, people are like, oh, I didn't even notice it. Oh, it didn't even really bother me. All right, well, it was there, okay? I didn't really even notice Nosferatu. Other people were like, oh my God, did you see his giant whatever? But in this film, it's like right down Front Street, man. It is a haymaker right to your dome. Lord of the Wangs here, they focus on it. There's a lot of weird scenes with it. It is what it is. They're primal people. You also get a lot of TNA, you get pregnancy, you get like a lot of this stuff. I would have liked, I don't know, I feel like they could have explored why they weren't wearing clothes. Like, you got to think they're out in those fields, they're tearing each other to pieces, right? That wasn't a huge deal, but I think that there's a lot of gore in this film for the time that the zombies are in there, which is not very long. There's not enough of the rage virus even in this film. That does kind of upset me a little bit, but like I said, I had no expectations, so I still had a damn good time with it. Nudity and the weirdness with that aside, I feel like when they first decide that they're going to go out and they're going to start hunting, he's got to get his first kill. He's got to get it in the neck, and you're like, he doesn't have very many fucking arrows in that quiver, dude. This could get intense real quick. Like, I was bought in, and they start doing that Rudyard Kipling, the boots, 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 up and down, boots, boots. It was like a Sepultura song, man. It was so awesome. I was so bought in, you guys. I really, really enjoyed this film because I don't really like the other ones. This is the best one, hands down. This was a great fucking time. A Sunday night where I got nothing else to do. Okay, I had my headphones on. I had it blasting. Dolby Atmos in your headphones, man, with those Skull Candy Crushers, the Evos. These fucking things, dude. Like, I could feel memories from my childhood when that shit was going off. Boots, 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 boots. Oh, I was just having the best time. The best fucking time. I just ran it for like 14 minutes. I did not mean to do that, okay? The causeway idea, the bridge, I talked about all that stuff. The only thing that I thought was a little bit weird was the iPhone stuff. It does look like it's cleaned up quite a bit, and you can tell that they're probably definitely using drones and, lots of cool shots and stuff, but there is something just a little bit off, even though like the camera and the lens and like the fucking setup that he had was like 5 feet long to get all. It's like it's I don't know, it's hokey kind of. How much better would this film looked if it was shot on regular films, or God forbid like actual, like, I don't know. I still didn't mind it though, but I was noticing like, oh, that looks a little bit grainy there. That looks a little bit hokey. Some of the shots, you know, like with the kill cam, I actually thought that was pretty intense. I still kind of liked all that shit, guys. So if, you know, for my money, man, bullet to my head, I'm not going to edit this thing. It's 15 fucking minutes. 15 minutes of a dude just rambling out in his garage, thinking about 28 years later, having a good time. My deck is done. It is going to be just an oasis out in my backyard. It took like 4 weeks doing it on the weekend and trying to just get it out with 100-degree weather. Oh my God, dude. It's such a relief to have that done. It was going to be like an $8,000 project that I did for about $800. So pretty proud, you know. I'm really, really happy with that shit. So I got my brain back. I got time to watch horror movies now. And I got time to really kind of get down the rest of this summer. And I think if you want to do something different and you're not a fan of these movies, I think you might really, really enjoy 28 Years Later. Unless you're a thinker. And that's another thing I should say before I get the hell out of here. There's stuff in this film with, you know, the bone sculptures and the Memento Mori stuff. There is some really deep thoughts on death and the way that we treat our elders and, like, I don't know, the circle of life and the way that this film deals with that stuff. And I think that's what resonated the most with me, because I've kind of been going through that with my family. It was just very interesting to see, and it was intense, man. I really like that. I thought that this was a great, just, I don't know, man, just a movie that wanted to do something different, break the fucking mold. So guys, I love you so very much. Take care of yourselves. I'm going to come back and hit you on Wednesday, maybe even Friday night. I love you. Cheers.